and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Wayne, it was good to hear you.
I just say, I know you missed me.
I know, yeah. I miss you during, especially during the pledge. Just let it all out. Nothing wrong with that. For tonight's agenda, I would ask that we, number 18, we modify that to 2023 Town Hall holiday schedule. And also, Drew Sauer is going to be here from the Historical Society. He's number 15. He wanted to limit his exposure to other people, so he's going to show about 7:30. So if it's okay with the board, maybe we could massage that in the agenda a little bit, depending on what time it is and what time he gets here.
Sure.
Is there a motion?
I move.
Second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. We'll move on to public comment. We knew Wayne was here for a reason, other than to help with the pledge.
Other with the pledge. Wayne Menz, 90 Ontario Street. I'm treasurer of the American Legion, and I'm just up here to thank you people very, very much. It was an excellent dinner we had on Veterans Day there. And thank you, John, for very, for Wally. We all knew Wally, so that was very good. And I thank you very much for that. And I thank you all for thinking of the veterans and the excellent dinner you put on. Okay.
Thank you. It's our pleasure.
Hello, I'm Wayne Menz. And I am chairman of the committee for the senior citizens. And again, I'd like to thank the board very, very much for the Thanksgiving dinner we're going to have tomorrow. So the seniors are slowly moving around for the next couple of days. You'll know the reason. And again, I know it's in our budget, but thank you very much. It's weird when the hardest sell I have is when I try to sell people, you can buy a turkey dinner for $5. You want to come to the Christmas one, you get a prime rib dinner for $5. So again, thank you for including us in your budget. And that's all I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Don't get too many people that come for a public comment that,
Thank you.
Complimentary things.
Oh, true. Oh, the village hadn't picked up the leaves.
So I don't know. I know a lot of you were working on the dinner, but when Wayne alluded to the fact that I spoke, some of you probably weren't in the Four Corners, but I spoke about Wally Anderson. So Wally Anderson was a member of Post 664, died suddenly 2 years ago. He was a great guy, and he was very well known in the community. He supported many veterans activities, volunteered for veterans activities, not only here in Honey Falls and Mendon, but I mean, all over the state, really, right, Wayne? I mean,
Yes.
he was involved with the VA in Canandaigua.
Very active for the Legion, Marine Corps League. In fact, I ran into him at the state fair one day, manning the Legion booth at the state fair. It just doesn't expand of his volunteers.
There you go. Exactly. So,
Was it every lunch in that room?
yeah, great guy. Really missed.
I'm so glad Linda was there.
I'm sorry.
I'm very glad Linda was.
Oh, yeah, his wife Linda.
Yeah, I thought she probably would have attended it.
Yeah, they're usually there, but I was glad she was there, and glad the weather held off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got it in. Let's see. Anything else, Danny? Okay, move on to communications. Mr. Amy?
Okay, highway guys, we're starting our snow and ice, getting ready for that. Actually had our first salt one last night. It worked good, so looks like we're good for the rest of this week. Putting up our delineators, our snow fence. Salt prices are up 55, 59 to 62, 48. So a pretty good jump, $6. Some change went up, I believe.
Is that a ton?
Yes, so it went up just under $7. And I'm sure there'll be a fuel surcharge on top of that this year with the fuel prices. Usually, most years there isn't. It's just kind of what we got. Got an email from Joanne. She's real happy with us on the way it looks, courts, trails, Odie and Carol doing a job over there. She just passed that on, which was nice to see. Got an email from Larry Roth. I think it's maybe for later about the soccer nets.
Yeah,
So
about the donation, yeah.
so we can talk about that later, I guess. Today, we actually started working on that tree survey we did. I did, or the guys did last, we took down 2 trees, 2 big trees, one on Chamberlain and one on Highland. Summer Road is farmed. I don't know if you noticed it, over the spring farm or anything, but I scraped it. It was, got a complaint from one of the guys that lived up in the private drive, but I mean, it was, I get it, it's, that was bad. You actually can still see the dirt on it.
Was that today?
No, when they did it, whenever they did it, I came in one day and I was just. Spent quite a bit. So I don't know whoever's doing it or whatever, maybe we can. I know there was some sort of lease coming on, so I don't know who won that or anything, but maybe something said.
Sure.
How much?
Do you think maybe a gravel entrance would help that?
What's
Is it
that?
is it a gravel entrance now?
It is.
Is that field?
It almost, there's 2 entrances. There's one right across from the shop, and then if you go a little further down, there's a backfield. To me, it almost looked like full laps. I mean, it was that. And usually they get in there, they do their thing and leave, and then you get one trail, you know, they can't keep the tractors and get it, but
Oh, it looked like they're going between
yeah,
entrances.
it was pretty good. But anyways, that just seems something to be said about that, whoever's doing it. New York State, talked to them, so our last year's snow and ice payments have not been processed, they're sitting on desk somewhere in Albany, they don't have a person to process, so I think that's $150,000 just piled up, and that's everyone, Monroe County, as far as I know, have not received it. We usually receive them August, I think September, somewhere's in there, so. Also, along with that, we're supposed to be getting a 31% rental rate increase. However, that's not coming through either. And of course, the county jumped on it and said, well, the state's not doing it, we're not getting it either, so. That's our rental rates that we rent our trucks and everything to while we're contracted to work with them, so that isn't happening yet. Spectrum wants to add cable up Mendon Center Road. They want to put it underground. They don't want to use RG&E's poles because they're charging them too much. I kind of looked at it, I'm good with it. As long as no one else doesn't, to be on the backside of the ditch, and it'll get some residents cable down that road, which I didn't realize there wasn't.
Where did you say that was?
Mendon Center, west of Clover Street, 65.
Oh, okay.
That's a town, it's a town road. Then I had estimate for survey and Amen Road is $1,400 for the good turnaround. I don't think that's. Full head with it. And one other thing to think of is what are we doing with COVID sick time? Something, I don't know. how that's
COVID.
If somebody calls and says they're out of COVID,
Are we gonna end paying it or?
well, it's up to this point, they haven't had to use their sick time.
Right.
So,
And that's how I'm still going that way, but I'm.
there hasn't been a change by the board.
Right.
Since then.
I was just
So why
bringing it up.
haven't they had to use their sick time?
Why haven't they?
Mhm.
In the beginning, I believe it was mandated by, state or federal government. And I know in the other towns, that I've spoken to, that, those had to use their sick time for COVID.
It's been that way at school. Now it is not that way. They have to use sick time now.
Right, and I'm hearing that some of the health works, and starting at January 1st is gonna switch, so. Got some time to think about it if you want it, however you want to do it, you guys want to do it, I just, so I know. What you do, I've been doing, going right along with what we've been going.
Yeah, we haven't had anybody have to use their sick time for COVID.
Hmm.
Just had a guy that had it, so I didn't, I was like, we'll go with yours. Keep doing it, but maybe, I don't know.
Something
How
to keep
much
in
sick
mind.
time do you get a year?
It's kind of, depending on who you are, you get 10, 12 days a year, I guess. Piled.
Well, how many sick days a year?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I'm not positive. It's in the personnel policy and it's in the, let me think about this. It's in the organization. It might be in the organizational meeting. I can't remember. But it's definitely in personnel policy.
That's the problem with COVID is once you're sick, you still have to quarantine.
For 5 days.
Yeah, for 5 days. So
From
that's,
when you come.
yeah, that's gonna eat up
Is that-
a lot of somebody's sick time.
Right.
Is that still the same rules that you gotta,
I think the
Isolate
rule
for
right now is
5 and then
you
mask
isolate
for 5.
and mask for 5. That's what it is.
I knew that was what it was in August when I had it.
But what happens, I've been wondering this, what happens now when you get COVID? You go your 5 days and you still test positive for COVID.
Yeah,
Doesn't
you don't,
matter.
they don't
Doesn't
test
matter.
again.
So
It's
the
5
way,
and 5.
Yeah.
the last I
Okay.
heard, you know,
'Cause you
this
Can
has
test
changed
positive.
a
I
whole
mean,
bunch
it's
of ways.
been positive for a long time.
But I think
That after the 5 days, you can test positive and, you know, do 5 days with a mask and then go back to normal, even if you're still
Yeah.
testing positive. The
Okay.
Last I heard, but
Yeah.
I haven't been up on all the latest and greatest.
It's 5 days from a positive test. And I may have felt like it a couple of days, but it's 5 days from a positive test. You're supposed to isolate.
Question was, what if you test negative after 3 days?
No, you still have to,
Yeah, it's
5
5
days.
Yeah,
So I guess maybe, I don't know, maybe something out, I don't know.
anyway,
What I'm doing again.
yeah.
Look at that.
I think we should look at them too.
Let's see. Michelle. Anything?
School taxes are done. I filed my report Sunday, so that's all done. They're in, everything looks good. And that's eaten up the majority of my time. I apologize for not making it to the veterans. Dinner. I was busy at
It was understood.
Yep, but other than that, I think all done with school taxes.
Yeah.
Get a reprieve now for what, 6-7 weeks?
There were 1,100s in the other day.
Oh, yeah, a lot of DEC going on right now, because the second round of dough tags are out. Yeah, the last week of, or the first week in November was real good. So, yeah. I mean, running around.
And I will tell you that I witnessed a hunter come in and be very appreciative
Yes,
of your credit card.
yes, yes.
So-
The credit card machine's up, it's working great.
Yep.
People use it, they love it. They don't even know they love it, because they're always like, oh, here's my credit card, and we used to say, oh, we don't take them, and now we're like, okay. You know, and very few people don't want to pay the 3%. We always say it's gonna be 3%, and they're like, okay. You know, so,
So thank you for
yeah,
doing that.
yeah, no, I think it's a great
Service.
addition.
I think some local businesses are 4% now.
Yeah, so we're actually at 3.2%, and that is a wash. We're not really making a penny, you know, we're not trying to make money off of it.
Right.
We just have to cover the fees. That's all I'm trying to do. And if it fluctuates, I'll fluctuate, you know, if it goes down a little, I'll go down, you know. So make sure we're covering our costs. But yeah, it's been good.
Sheldon is out of town on vacation, correct?
Since the last meeting, we've got, planning board has got a special use permit coming up, this Wednesday night for the old Mendon Walk Building, 3913 Rush Mendon Road, for an apartment upstairs, 3-bedroom. On December 7th, we're looking at 2 special use permits, one for pizzeria down in the hamlet, and another one for the Aqua Center is looking to amend their existing special use permit. 27th did a short-term rental webinar. Thought it was very pertinent to what we're looking at here in our town. Found it very useful. I think, John, you sent that out, the video. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend you do. Neuro Community Business Association meeting tomorrow for lunch. They have a holidays in the Hamlet coming up on November 30th, from 5 to 8. That's a Wednesday night. And then there's a ugly sweater on December 3rd. So right.
Where's the holidays in again?
64, isn't it?
Is that
It's
Mendon?
all over.
Oh,
There's
at all?
something going at Westminster Abbey. There's something going at the old academy, Chris Brush's place. I don't remember what it's called right now. 6 Mendon-Ionia Road.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a tree lighting ceremony, but it didn't work out. They're having the old bean mill. You can pick up early packets for the ugly sweater run. Mendon 64 is putting some stuff on, Cottage is putting some stuff on. They're really trying to beef it up, get more going on in the hamlet. They're talking about having some people from Mendon Commons, Lauren to come down and do some arts and crafts down at Chris Brush's place. She has some vendors down there, so. I guess Chris Brush said that they had people calling her up, asking her if she was gonna do it again this year. So it's really good for the grass.
It's a Wednesday night, isn't
Yeah, it's a Wednesday night. 5 to 8.
What was that called? I got the December 3rd ugly sweater. What was the other? thing?
Holiday in the Hamlets. So I think this might be the 3rd year they've done it.
And when is
Definitely,
that?
it's not the
it?
first.
The 30th.
Yeah.
The 30th of November.
30th of November. Met with John and Labella, talked about some billing items, spray park, planning board processes. Also had another meeting at the spray park. Spray park is, knock on wood, we're hoping to get the winter shut down by December 2nd. There'll be some stuff left over, such as the plaques, the backflow valve enclosure won't be in. There's a couple other items, but they have started. They should be done with the asphalt, the concrete, and they'll be placing topsoil and seeding it, but this time of the year, we're not positive it's going to germinate, and they will do a test. They're planning on doing a test before they shut down to make sure everything's working. As I'm pretty happy about that, because my concern is with the availability of parts, if there's a busted valve or something, we don't want to do that in early May and then find out that it's 6 weeks out.
That's right.
Yeah.
So anybody wants to come down and run through the sprinklers and early December, they can.
I might do that.
John Hagering said he was going to be the first to part of the so we'll try it
Wow.
out.
I'll pay in my suit, but I'll have my camera.
I'll try.
And there was also a question about the flagpoles and having lights, and they will have lights. We were pretty adamant about that.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you have to take the flags down each night. Right. And then, I've had some meetings about short-term rentals, kind of a workshop with building department and John. Keep on moving forward with that. Nothing really ready for prime time to discuss, but kicking around some ideas.
Now, Brent, if I may jump in on your stuff here. For the spray park, the ceremony, whatever we do for like an opening for it, we'll have to know if it's going to open on time, so that, because I think that's gonna take about a month to plan.
I think we'll have a pretty good idea. After winter shutdown, we expect them to come in and put some bits and pieces together over the winter as they can. The grass growing is gonna be tough because we don't know what's gonna happen. I'm assuming you're looking somewhere around Memorial Day.
I would think so, yeah.
So I think we could have a pretty good idea by early March.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
I don't think that's too far out of the realm of possibility to have a good idea what it's gonna look like. I think the memorial is gonna be much farther ahead than the spray park.
Okay. Sounds good.
Karen?
We had a historic preservation committee meeting, where we addressed the, project that's happening on the corner in the hamlet. That particular building is within 500 feet of the buffer zone for both of the cobblestone buildings, and we made some recommendations to the planning board regarding that. The group also asked that we ask the town hall to consider being put on the historic registry. Because they're trying to encourage other buildings to be put on that registry. And I think that's it.
Great, thank you. Cindy?
For the library, they are no longer collecting fines for, junior or, young adult materials. Most libraries seem to be going in that direction, and so they did some research and thought it was best if they do the same thing. It was initially supposed to start on December 23rd, and then they had discussions about, would say we're gonna make it December 23rd. People are gonna say, okay, I'll turn my books in on December 23rd then instead of now. So they made it retroactive. Anybody who has books out right now. Of the.
So they're not gonna be fined for late fee?
Apparently, they say that research shows that they actually get more books back that way than they charge fines. Because people don't want to pay the fines, so they just never bring them.
So they don't. I get it.
Also, it was funny because a couple people said, I'm gonna go under my kid's bed now. I said, I'm not taking those back, I'm not paying this fine. Also on Martin Luther King Day, the library is talking about having a community reception and inviting town officials to be there for a cocoa and meet and greet. That is still kind of in the planning stages. They also have several events planned for November, including an Amherst night. A player will be coming to speak and kind of just do some trivia, fool around with some kids, and he's bringing the moose. That's on the 28th of November at 6:30 if you're interested in going. They also have an overdose presentation and opioid crisis in Monroe County presentation for teens and adults on the 29th of November. And those are the big events, and I thought, as some of you have already mentioned, I thought the Veterans Day luncheon went very well.
It did. Thank you for all your support.
Everybody worked on it, but you're welcome.
Ted?
Environmental Conservation Board, I'm trying to think of last time we met, I mentioned that Patrick Borelli will be stepping down at the end of his term, right, at the end of the year, yeah. So John and I met with Peter Carosa, and Peter followed up with John, said he's interested in being chair of that committee. We had a meeting where Patrick announced it to everyone, and we started at that meeting kind of with a transition of power, and just kind of talking about it. It actually was very, I think it was eye-opening to a lot of people, maybe some of the history and all that kind of stuff. But I do, excuse me, anyways, one more meeting with Patrick is going to be at the beginning of December. Patrick will still be the chair of that meeting, but we're going to consider that a transition meeting where we move forward. Obviously, that leaves an opening on the board, so.
So he's leaving the board.
He's leaving the board,
Just
yeah.
not the chair.
Yeah. So,
How long has he been on the board? Did numbers-
you know, what's funny is we were talking about it, and he's been on the board for, I'm guessing five years.
Yeah, I'd have to say.
But other than outside of that, Peter Carosa is probably the longest, and he's been there less than 2. So it's a pretty green board. Just. Oh, hey, pun intended. Actually, I didn't. So anyways, but what's going on with BCB? Men and Youth Center, I've been working with Stephanie Bean and Cindy. They will be able to provide transportation from the middle school to the youth center. I've actually, I was mentioning to John earlier, I sent a proposed post that we can post with the details, because because it's middle school, it requires a permission slip, and then you can set a permission slip in the morning and ride the bus that afternoon. So I'm just having all the parties that have input that's permanent take a look at that, and then I mentioned it to Denise, I'll give it to her, and we'll posted. So hopefully that's, I mean, the numbers have been, pretty subdued, but we're hoping that maybe a little bit of, now that the weather's a little colder and with this being an option, that maybe it's gonna perk things up a bit. So.
Thank you. Just want to mention that, the official, naming of the chairperson will be at the organization.
Oh, yeah, okay.
We're trying to facilitate
Yeah.
that one, now. Let's see, some of the, they had some problems with the lights at the library, that's been fixed, the new drinking fountain has been installed, thanks to the highway department. The drinking fountain itself, of course, was donated, by the Friends. Let's see, Brent, you covered the military memorial spray park, there was a small claims, case that we lost, versus one of our residents, which reduced our taxable assessment by about $60,000. So that will, our budget's actually finalized, so, but the county will catch up with that. And so, it's, if it makes a difference of more than a dime in anybody's tax bill, I'd be surprised. It's very minimal out of, maybe $700 million or something. Out of taxable assessment of $948 million, we're talking about $60,000. So, our other case we won. Let's see. So you covered that. As Brent mentioned, I meet with Corey and Brent weekly regarding short-term rental. We'll have something for the board to look at. Hopefully next month, but it might be January. Fire protection meetings are going on. Karen and I have been attending those. Been very informative, very enlightening. They definitely, at this point, I can say that and that's the whole reason why we're having them, is they do not have enough firefighters available on a regular basis. New phones have been installed at Town Hall, thanks to Denise. She really carried the water on that one. That was not a fun experience, but everybody's getting used to it little by little. As you mentioned, Brent, we did the webinar on short-term rentals. Supervisors Associations penned a letter and I signed it, as well as all 19 supervisors from Monroe County, regarding the whole bail reform and crime and all the rest. To the governor. Let's see, ECB that's covered New York class. So as you know, we passed a resolution a couple of months ago to invest our reserve funds with New York class. And of course, the rates have trickled up. So what we've seen is that, instead of $200 that we were getting in a local bank at a slightly above under your mattress rate, we, in 1 month, we received $5,000 in interest.
Wow.
Huge jump. But as I say, interest rates have gone up
Yeah.
too, but also New York class is paying a way higher interest rate than.
That's great.
Big improvement. And Kelly gets the credit for that. She's the one who heard about him. She's the one who
Right.
brought it to me. I called several other towns that use New York class or NY class, and everybody had positive things to say about it. Let's see, I attended the Legion meeting on November 10th downstairs. I also attended the Monroe County or Mendon Community Business Association meeting with Brent last month. There's another one tomorrow. Met with Mike Simon. He's going to take over our engineering from this point on. We had a few issues with the billing, so Mike's going to take a more active role. Our court case with Mr. Kuhn is on the docket for the Mendon Town Court tomorrow night. And I think we were tied for third in percentage of election turnout in Monroe County. Parma, I think, had 70%. I believe we were at 67%. So we were one of the top 3 or 4 as far as percentage turnout in election on Tuesday. And Bridges of Mendon is is closing. And they are in the process of shutting down. And I would imagine they will have that building for sale in the near future. Rini said she's tired of fighting with the state. And she's had it. So anyway, as you all know, Benecast is closed and up for sale, and sale pending, I believe is what that is. You want me to, are you waiting for anybody? Drew, you want to go to you next? I mean, we've got a few more things. It's up to you.
That'd be fine.
Art?
That'd be fine.
Okay, let's go to you. So I will just want to thank Drew for coming, but we'll jump ahead here to number 15 on the agenda, which is the Honey Falls Minute Historical Society request. And maybe Drew, if you want to, I know you came here specifically, so if you want to give us your thoughts on it.
Sure. Get my dates right here, if I could. So in next November, as you all know, we have programs on the first Thursday of every month for 8 months of the year in here. Wayne helps us, thank you. And they're public educational programs the public is invited to. We also hold our business meetings at the Historical Society. We had selected a presentation for November of next year, so a year from this month, with Jane Oakes to present on the lost wineries of Western New York. As a part of the talk, we had come up with the idea of offering a tasting of local wines from a local winery, and we have arranged for a local winery. I forget which one now because we begins with an R, and I'm sorry I didn't bring the name with me. But we're negotiating with some wineries, and to bring those as part of the experience and serve them at the conclusion of the evening. And we know that the rules for the use of this facility by nonprofits like ours are restricted, and we wanted to get your permission to have the wine tasting as part of the educational event. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you for considering.
Sure. So is there a motion for number 15, which is to allow the Honey Falls Minute Historical Society to provide permission for a small tasting of wines at their program, Lost Wineries and Finger Lakes, during their 2023 scheduled event? The event is at the Mena Community Center, and town policy does not allow alcoholic beverages to be served at the community center. So is there a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
There's nothing in the state law that says we can't do that.
Not as far as I know. Not as far as I know. I like to check with Sheldon. There's nothing that I'm aware of that would require any type of liquor license.
So I think you said a winery would be coming to serve the wine, right?
Yes.
So I'm wondering if the winery's liquor license would cover that? And not to be a wet blanket, but you don't want to start a situation where obviously it's something that would enhance the winery and we go and with Lost Wineries in there, but we don't want to have other people bringing in alcohol to this situation. And I think, if that's winery's license would cover it, I think something that would be nice and that would enhance.
I think it would be nice too. I just want to be sure to cover ourselves.
Sure. So do you want to make the resolution pending attorney's approval and with the possibility of requiring that with the requiring of the liquor license by the vendor? Is that
I think, yeah, somebody's got to have the license to serve it, right?
Right, I would think so, but I don't know.
That's all we could be there.
Yeah, so I guess it's pending.
So can you kind of put that condition?
Sure.
Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Drew.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Take care. We'll move on to supervisors monthly report.
Make a motion to acknowledge receipt of the supervisor's monthly report for October 2022.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Looks like it's in pretty good shape.
Moving along. Like to see those percentages of revenues over 100% this time of year. Forms my heart.
Absolutely.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Move on to town clerk's monthly report.
Make a motion, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Make a motion to acknowledge receipt of the town clerk fund report for October 22, showing the receipts and disbursements in the amount of $1,083.83.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Can I just mention that there were a number of dog licenses? Would that be because of the event?
Yes.
It's great.
Forget what the total was.
Oh, you talked about 20%. That's pretty good shot.
I can't remember, but yeah, I think a lot.
I mean,
of
that's a
those-
lot.
Yeah, so we got a pretty good.
Good for you.
I was happy.
Let's see, minutes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular and special town board meetings held October 17th and 24th, 2022.
A second.
Any discussion?
One question. Special meeting, we had people read the letters that John was reading. I think it was Mr. Rick Altier of, like Berry Ponds down on Cheese Factory Road. I see it's noted here that he supported it. I thought he was off topic. I thought he was talking about for-profit events, and he wanted to run for-profit events down there, and that he wanted to be grandfathered in.
That's
And
correct.
I didn't think it had anything to do with short-term rentals.
Well, I think he felt that it had something to do with short-term rentals. Because he sent me an email today and asked, or I think it started with you, Michelle, and you forwarded it to me. And he asked me for information on whatever the town's thinking of or something like that. And I just sent him the minutes from this meeting on the 24th. So I don't know exactly where he thinks he falls in the event / short-term rental.
Yeah, because I remember he had fought it shortly after the law was repealed back last December for the for-profit events. I guess the old Woodstock law that came in because of the concern of people putting on Woodstock type events here. Okay, so he thought he was, I thought he was off topic, but it sounds like he was confused on what the topics were.
I'm not really sure. I've never really talked to him. I've only exchanged, I believe this email, maybe one other, the email that he sent in regarding this topic. So he somehow feels that this applies to him. But I went back to the planning board meeting when he was approved for the subdivision, I believe. And they asked him what his plans were for that property, and he said he didn't have any, and that was only a few months ago. So apparently, according to his email, he's got a lot of things in mind for that piece of property. Sounds like a commercial endeavor to me.
I think it was once upon a time, years ago.
That price of property?
I think it is, I think it was formerly called Berry Ponds. And you go back there, there's an indoor swimming pool. Who did I go back there?
Oh, yeah, I know the piece of property. It was,
It was you and Andy?
Yeah.
It was you and I, yeah, because we couldn't figure out there, we couldn't figure out where the house
Was
was.
the one off,
Well, you can't really figure out where the front door is because it's around the back of the house.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
but I
remember
mean,
being there with
the
John.
previous owner never had that open to the public. It was
No.
just for private use.
was that just private use? Okay.
He's the owner of Bennett Capital.
Right. That's for them.
Yeah, I was never aware that it was ever open to the public. That was just for his family and friends, I guess I'll call them, clients. But I can't think of his name off the top of my head. I know it's
I
very
can't either.
So I'm not sure where he thinks he falls, and I'm not sure I'm not exactly sure what it is that he thinks he wants to do there, because it sounds like a tune has changed, so.
But you feel as though his letter, he was supporting maintaining short-term rentals. Even though he's confused on what they are.
When you say maintaining, you mean allowing?
Yeah, allowing
Yes.
short-term rentals. Okay.
Yes, that was what it seemed to me his comments were. Yes, he was supporting, not putting any limits on short-term rentals.
Because I remember part of the email was he's not gonna do short-term rentals.
Yes, so I don't know, I'm not sure where he thinks he fits in the code.
Okay, all right.
And I'm not gonna, it's not, as far as I'm concerned, it's not our job to show him where he may or may not fit.
Understood. Agree.
We got a second, right? Check. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Move on to budget transfers and adjustments.
Make a motion to approve the budget adjustments as indicated in there.
I'll second.
So the larger amount here is in AIM payments, because I don't know if you remember this, but there's a big hubbub at the state level about, they weren't providing AIM payments last year, year before, so we didn't budget for it in 2021, and we received it because they said it was going to now be included in sales tax, and there was this whole thing with, as far as I was concerned, smoke and mirrors, my personal opinion. But now it's been put back in, and this year for some reason. And anyway, we received it, so that's why I am suggesting we move it into the reserves for that. And then the other big item is the replacement truck for the building inspector. That was budgeted for 2023. However, the truck was put on order early because it takes so long to get anything. Well, that came in. So we have a excess of revenue in sales tax, so that's why we would use that sales tax money to pay for it, because I'm afraid if we turn down the truck, we might not get it until 2024, for all I know. So, because our sales tax is up, I figured we could use that excess of sales tax. That'll create, an expense that we don't have to make in 2023, obviously, but I figure we better grab it while we can.
How old is that truck? The current, about the one that he's been using?
I believe it's 5 years, five, maybe, I don't know if you know. What's that?
Tom had it.
Yeah.
I've had it for a couple of
Maybe
years.
2 years and then he retired, so.
I was thinking it was like,
4 or 5 years.
Yeah, because it was musty.
Yes,
That
remember
musty,
the
yes.
problem?
had a
Yes,
big
yes.
problem with that. And that was leaking water into the headliner, and then it was just musty. The water was coming in somewhere. I can't remember. Maybe it was the vent. I think it was those
And I think
vents.
that's before Corey began.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
had
Tom
that,
has
so
just
it's gotta be at
still.
least-
Yeah, I forgot exactly what year it is, but I want to say it's at least 5, 6 years old.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a lot of miles on it, but it's still in good shape. So. Anything else? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next, we have vouchers.
Make a motion to approve all claims on vouchers number 22-749 to 22-829 on general abstract 22-11 in the amount of $376,850.31.
Second.
Any discussion? A lot of big ticket items, but
There were.
between the spray park, the memorial, and the pickup truck. I think those were the big 3 items, as I recall. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Also want to communicate that library vouchers numbered 22-140 to 22-164 on library abstract 22-11 in the amount of $8,675.07 were presented to the town board for payment.
Thank you. Next is capital improvement plan. This is a public hearing. I'll open the public hearing at 7:46 PM. Regarding the town of Mendon capital improvement plan. We ask that you please give us your name, address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. Anyone like to comment on the capital improvement plan? Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor of closing the public hearing?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next, we'll move on to resolution to accept the 2023 capital improvement plan.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Once again, it's a plan and be fluid and change from year to year. As you know, we've already changed something already tonight. For next year. Excuse me. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next, we have a fire protection contract. This is for a public hearing. Open the public hearing at 7:47 PM. This is a fire protection contract for the Mendon Fire Protection District Number 1 with the Village of Onion Falls. And I have the contract with you. Would anyone like to speak about that contract? Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, we have the fire protection contract. And it is for Fire Protection District Number 1 with the Village of Onion Falls and the Mendon, Onion Falls Fire providing the service. And Michelle, listens to the programs. Obviously, do it tomorrow. Just thought I'd give you the heads up.
Make a motion to accept the fire protection contract for Mendon Fire Protection District Number 1 with the Village of Onion Falls, not to exceed $172,311.00.
I'll second that as well.
Any discussion?
John, I don't remember what was the amount last year? Did you have that? I don't remember.
Believe it went up. You want to know for this year, 2022?
Yes. Please.
District. Fire protection, $159,396.
$20,000.
Okay.
Did we receive any kind of indication of the increase in price? And you think it's fuel?
I'm sure that's part of it.
I'm sure,
Yes. All the above, and you all have the contract as well as the formula. So the budget itself of the fire department went up. So that's what their operating budget is. $309,000. I am not sure what last year's was. I've forgotten. But anyway, yeah, I think it was considerably less than that. And of course, out of that 309, as you can see, our portion is 172, so we're paying well over 50% of the budget.
It's based on assessed value, right?
Three things.
Okay.
Assessed value, the population, and no, I'm sorry, I'm I'm sorry, I'm getting that mixed up with ambulance. No, it's strictly based on assessed value. Correct. Correct, I'm sorry. And West Bloomfield's part of that contract, but it's a very small part, you know, it's just what commonly described as North Bloomfield. The North Bloomfield part of West Bloomfield. If that makes sense to you.
Makes sense.
Let's see, what else was I gonna ask? Other than that, no, it's pretty much a standard contract. Anything else?
Given
Okay, so we got a second, right? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. So I'm gonna send this down for signatures. Shelley. Do her handiwork tomorrow. While we're doing that, we'll skip to number 16, which is the organizational meeting schedule.
Make a motion to conduct the town of Mendon organizational meeting January 2nd, 2023, 7 PM at the Mendon Town Hall, 16 West Main Street, Miami Falls.
second,
That's
it's
Monday.
Monday.
Is that even a public hearing?
Is that on the holiday schedule?
Which one?
Organizational meeting.
No. Oh, no, I mean, the notice of the meeting? Yes. Notice of the meeting, yes, but assuming it's,
I meant to do it. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's back.
yes. Yes.
Brent, what was your question?
Come to make sure we weren't recognizing New Year's Day on the second.
No, it's not on the town hall. They can put the holiday schedule.
So, in my calendar, it calls it New Year's Day substitute, January 2nd. So I think, certain places will be closed that day. Feeling was that, you know, a lot of towns have it on New Year's Day, their organizational meeting right on New Year's Day. We generally don't usually have it the first Monday after New Year's, and that's when this is. So we were thinking that we probably would have it that day. We've had it as late as, I think, around the 10th of January. That's
Do we
good.
have to do the fire thing on January 1st this year?
What's the fire? You mean,
Isn't there like a
Reception.
Swearing in.
swearing in ceremony?
we haven't been invited, but normally there's a swearing in of commissioners at the Bennett Firehouse on New Year's Day.
New Year's Day, okay,
Right. Haven't heard anything about it. but
Okay.
normally it's
okay.
late in the afternoon, it's usually dark. I want to say it's like 4 o'clock.
Usually it's at 5, right at 5.
5.
You walk in at 5:01. They
Oh,
just
yeah.
want everybody in and you gotta stand at the door like, oh, no.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything. from those
Okay.
folks.
It seems to me that, last year, I think I asked who would Art knew anything, Art said to me afterwards. He said, you don't need an invitation, always, it's an open invitation to the town board, so.
It is, but I don't like to assume anything, you know, so I.
Well, that's what I told
usually-
him, and he said, you're always invited to tell the town board, so.
So I always like to. assume.
Sorry, I took you down a rabbit hole.
If that's a good date with everybody, that's fine. If you want to do a different date, we certainly can for the organizational meeting, but like Michelle says, we do need a legal, so, you know, could wait, but
I think it's important to do
Yeah.
it quick, as fast as possible, and we appoint so many, the chairs and everybody at
Right.
that point, so I think it's pretty
So,
important for the meetings.
and technically, there could very well be planning for a meeting 2 days later.
Yes,
So I figure that's a good date, but we can do it anytime you want. Okay. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. Now, Mendon Town Hall. Where do we want to meet here? I bolded that in this resolution. Do we want to meet at the Mendon Town Hall from now on, or do we want to stay here?
I like it here from a accessible.
I think it's much easier access here,
Yeah, I do too.
I think the sound is much better on the recordings back at the town hall. If you watch these recordings on YouTube, a lot of times you have a hard time hearing anybody from this end. And down there, we have the microphones that go across.
We do.
I don't like the aesthetics of the themes, but they're fairly important to this structure.
Right.
Yes.
We can't think so.
As an engineer, you're pointing out. No, I think both buildings has pluses and minuses, to be honest with you. I mean, I think it's nice to have it at town hall because it's such a historic building and, you know, that kind of thing. This is easy as well. So it matters not to me, but I don't know what the board feels is appropriate, but, you know, we have had situations where someone has wanted to use this building when we've had a town meeting scheduled here. Not necessarily town board meetings, but other meetings. So, I mean, along with that, I think we need to think about planning, zoning. Are they gonna continue to meet here? Are they gonna meet at town hall? You know, and I think there's some consistency that we need to have as well, though. Because right now, like historic preservation meets at the town hall, ECB meets there because they need to take up the space because quite frankly, not many people attend those.
It's nice here when we have the pitchfork and torch meetings.
Yeah,
when
Yes.
people come, because there's
Yes.
more room.
There definitely is. Yeah,
which tends to happen more with planning. Yes.
And
Yeah, once in a while.
anytime, even if we did go, and I'm not trying to push it in one direction or another, but if we did schedule all the meetings at town hall, doesn't mean the town board couldn't move a meeting here because they expect a larger group.
Right.
And I'm gonna assume it's a little bit easier on you and Michelle setting up at town hall than it's setting up here. Yep, definitely less chairs
You
and
can
tables.
walk here from.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, but during the day,
at first I was like, wow, I gotta drag all that stuff up there. It's really not that much. I make John bring most of it. And, it really, it's not that bad. The one thing I would request that we get up here if we're going to do it, and I've mentioned it, is a cabinet maybe with a little lock that we can put just some stuff in. So that's something we don't have to drag, and maybe even a little copier or, you know, a stapler or just
Printer,
little
yeah.
things, just
Little office.
yes, just in case, because that was the nice thing about being at the town hall. If we missed something, I could always run downstairs and make a copy or whatever. But on the other hand, that doesn't come up very often, so it's not a
if you're
huge.
gonna stay here, I'd like to see something to sound. also.
That I agree. I mean, we have tried the speaker in the middle. I don't know if that's helped.
It helps.
It feels like it does. And I actually use one in the courtroom now because it really helps, but, yeah, I don't mind coming up here. I don't have a vote either way. I don't care.
It's, yeah, to me, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of another. Personally, I don't have a preference one way or another. But it is, I think it's important that we really need to decide where the organization meeting is gonna be and be consistent. It'd be nice to be consistent. I mean, we could just have the town board meetings here and have planning and zoning meet back at town hall. We can do that if you want to. I mean, you know, it's completely up to the board as far as what we want to do. I mean, there's plenty of parking down at town hall. Plenty of parking here. You know, we've got the handicap ramp here, we've got the elevator at town hall.
Yeah.
It's,
Tom, how many meetings do you think in your memory where upstairs was difficult with the number of people? I've been
You mean as a
maybe
town-
two or
as a
three
town
over the
board?
last 6 or 7 years.
Is the town board?
A town board and a planning board. Just between them, the roosters.
Yeah, roosters,
The
the
roosters,
solar.
there's the
solar.
solar one.
Maybe,
The
That wasn't
London
as big.
Green. London Green, but
London
London
Green
Green, but
wasn't-
that was a lot of, recently, that was, village, out of Pittsburgh residents. that was doing
But
that.
that wasn't as big as.
That is the.
Definitely.
That's
Rooster
the-
ate.
With the roosters and ice cream, that's when we went to that.
No ball. That's fun.
so,
But none of those were,
We
none of them were, I mean,
We did.
We
it.
had
may have
one
to-
that was standing room only
We did.
that I can remember.
Yeah.
but it wasn't like you're gonna have to wait outside and we'll do closed search.
No, it wasn't
Yeah,
like, no, we
no.
gotta cancel this and move to a larger location.
It's kind of nice when this kind of.
The only one I could think of that we're doing right now would be short-term rentals.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think we could handle what we've seen so
We've
far
seen
up
so
there.
far.
Yeah, I think if we were gonna have a public hearing regarding changing the law on short-term rentals, I'd still wanna have it here. in person.
I would.
Well, especially with the cold and flu season, then you can separate the chairs. You can't really do that there. So if we had a public thing, I would think.
I guess I hadn't really had much of a thought coming in as to what, but all things considered, get back to kind of, it kind of feels like we're on a town council. The building
I
is
think so
supposed to
too.
look-
I agree.
It was just,
The nice thing about town hall at budget time is that, at some point between the preliminary, that really hasn't happened the last couple of years, but my first few years, there were changes that were made on the fly in the budget, and Mary would run downstairs and literally make those changes on the fly to see what kind of difference it was gonna make, and this or that kind of thing, and we really haven't dealt with that recently. And for this, by the same token, that's why Kelly hasn't been here, because no point in having her here. She can't, ask her to run down and run some numbers, come back, and be pretty fruitful. So we kind of handle that in-house, which works out fine, but sometimes, depending on the personalities, sometimes there's changes at the 11th hour in the budget. that, Needed. People want to see what their implications are.
I think Tom's comments weighed me.
What's that?
I think Tom's comments weighed me. It just feels more like the town council.
I agree.
That building.
So we'll do the organizational meeting there.
all right, that sounds good.
All right.
Can you bring the sellable?
Yes. That is a staple.
I think that's where you start a trend. It goes on Amazon.
So locations of town meetings, this is kind of, I probably should have these opposite in the agenda, but they're attached to the other. So I would suggest if we're gonna meet at town hall, that the planning and zoning, everybody meet there. We'll reserve this room for special meetings that we think might have a larger attendance due to the subject matter. That's reasonable to everybody.
I got it's registered in my brain.
I know,
When come
we're
to
gonna
meetings.
be
Whoops, I went to the
here
wrong
saying,
place.
So there's no real resolution necessary for this, but I just want to try to get ahead of this stuff. So there's just so many things on the organizational meeting, as you know, I think there's 80 or 90 items, so the more things we get down ahead of time, the better. Next is town hall holiday schedule. That's your list on the right of the 13 days. Is there a motion?
From the left. It's on the left, yeah.
On the left, did I say the right?
We knew what you meant.
The other right. I'm sorry, is there a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next is budget and accounting training session for small towns.
I make a motion to allow the supervisor to attend the conference in Alkmaar, New York on November 28th and 29th, 2023. Is that right?
Mhm.
Okay,
No, 22.
I thought so.
Wrote 23 too many times.
Not to exceed $750, including hotel mileage and registration to the conference. From account A1220.410.
Second.
Any discussion? This one kind of really intrigued me because they really have it. I don't know if you had a chance to look through the information that I provided, but it really is for small towns and small towns with villages in it. And I thought it was, it's a little out of my range that I usually go to as far as distance. If you're familiar with Parish on Route 81, north of Syracuse, that's the exit.
Okay.
AP, if you ever heard of APW School District, all far is the A. Parish and Williamstown are the other two. And I thought it was kind of interesting, the subject matter, because I think it really falls into our, type of town, type of size town that we have. And I think it'd be pretty interesting. Hopefully the weather's good.
Yeah.
Get north of Syracuse that time of year, you kind of roll the dice. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next, we have pickup purchase for the code enforcement officer.
So moved. We'll talk about it.
Any discussion that we haven't already had? Favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Tax receivers bond.
Make the motion, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
The undertaking, but public employee dishonesty.
Yeah.
Yes.
I run away with all your money.
Yep, this is the annual that we do this time of year because when Michelle starts collecting school tax on January 2nd, this has to be in place. Anybody who pays on December 30th would be the previous insurance policy, but we have to have this in place before she collects taxes for county and town. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next is donation of soccer goals.
Make a motion to accept the donation of soccer goals from Blaze Soccer.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
These are the smaller ones around the field, to shorten up the field.
I think these are the bigger ones, aren't they, Andy? These are the smaller ones.
So
Okay.
bigger ones are homemade
Oh, that's right.
with steel instead of, these are like powder coated, they don't rust. The other ones are starting to rust through. And they don't use them anyways.
So these ones just stay right on the field year round.
Yeah, take the nets off them.
Are they like in the ground? Are they
Oh, they're
anchored in the
movable.
ground? Are they movable?
Mr. Roth used to bring them out every year. They're tired of doing that and didn't use ours anyway, so I said, might as well just leave it here. Yeah.
Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Public comment.
Go ahead.
Dean?
All right, I'm not gonna try to muddy the water too much with your decision on where to be. If you had a crowd at the other meeting, these are all going out on Zoom now. People have more flexibility there. They don't have to be in the room if they just want to listen. If you're here and you need to make a budget change for the presentation, well, if the finance director has her town laptop, she can remote back into the computer there at the office. And if Michelle gets her printer here, she can fit it out on a printer in the room during the meeting. So either way, there are benefits and pros that the situation has changed or could.
Good point.
Organizational meeting, I've probably brought this up before. I'm sure I'll bring it up again until someone tells me why you can't do it. As John said, you're gonna have a long list of 90 some things or whatever. Is there a reason you couldn't lump all of them that are the same together as one motion? And then as a second motion, all those that are the same except for the year. And then as a third, all those that are the same except for the year and some nominal increase, whatever number you want in the cost. And then deal with whatever's left over. I don't know if that's allowable, but it would seem in my mind that could turn 90 action items into a dozen. I don't know, just tossing that out. And then-
I'd refer to Sheldon on
I made a suggestion enough times to enough groups, it feels like there has to be a reason no one grabs it, because it seems like a massive time saver.
Sure.
Sure.
But whatever works for you, it's not my meeting, and those are my comments, thank you.
Thank you. Wayne,
Okay. I know there's no comments, you guys got talking. I'm glad you're moving a lot of the meetings because the Legion Auxiliary, the ladies group, a couple times have tried to meet here, but it's the same night as the planning board. And something the planning board doesn't meet every month, but they do meet every month or most months. So sometimes they show up here and there's already a meeting here and they make a quick call and go someplace. There's only like 5 of them, so it's not a big deal. So I think if you did move those kind of meetings to the town hall, they could always plan on meeting here for their meeting night. And the second thing, it's up all these fire department things. This Friday, this information only, is the fireman's turkey raffle down at the fire hall. A real nice event. And I just
What
tell
is
them.
the turkey raffle?
What it is, it's, you go and you buy tickets and you might buy 10 tickets for $1. And then there's different rounds.
Okay,
Okay, so then they take all the tickets from that round, they'll draw maybe half a dozen, say these are the winning numbers. They throw all those tickets away and they start all over again.
okay.
And in the
So
meantime,
it's a
they have.
fundraiser.
Well, it's a absolute fundraiser, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in the meantime, they've got chili. Well, CB used to bring beer, but now somebody else brings a beer. And it's really fun. A lot of people attend. It's really a fun event for the village. And I got a secret. If you come late, they give out more turkeys later. in the day.
Oh, you've got that.
They don't know how many they're gonna have.
Good to know.
So they get to the end, okay, I've got 2 tickets and 3 turkeys, so, well, anyway, but I say, it's a fun event. It's a community together.
and they haven't had it, I don't think, the last 2 or 3 years since COVID.
Oh, right, yeah, but I'm going back.
It's
Yeah.
probably.
Mhm. Yeah.
Last time they had was
Yeah,
19.
just a
I
little.
know it's been a couple of years.
A real,
My daughter wants 6 turkeys.
Oh,
We
my.
were
Had
giving
what?
them away.
yeah, okay,
She wanted 6 of them. I'm
yeah.
like, okay.
You might liven it up a bit if you gave out live.
Yeah. Well, then I Jane Parmley, Roger Parmley's son, waited in the end, he had like 6 turkeys.
Yeah.
And, but we went from there, we went across the driveway in the Cosmos, with all these
Yeah.
turkeys.
Start giving them away.
Give it away in there. Well, anyway, I'll take, let me ramble on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, it's a nice event. I know a lot of people were disappointed last year, with the canceled. And so I'm sure I'm sure it'll be well. A lot of what I call lifers. will be there. Motion for adjourn,
So moved.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
What do we got tomorrow night? What do we need to put away?
Stay off there.